everyone, welcome back to RTS and happy International Scrapbook Day. I hope you are spending some time this evening to scrapbook or just play in your space, or perhaps just watch some videos and enjoy this beautiful hobby and the day we set aside for National Scrapbook Day. So what I wanted to do today, of course, have some scrap paper pages and then our giveaway, but also I wanted to do something a little extra, a bonus video, and so that's what we're going to do tonight. We are going to absolutely do a story-based page. Now, if you've been on my channel a bit, you'll know that story-based pages is near and dear to my heart, because this is something I put off for many years in my scrapbook journey, because I kept telling myself I had to have the perfect photo to go with the story that I wanted to tell and put in my albums, and that is not the case at all. And then once I started to look at papers, and I have this whole mantra of mood and feel. Once I started looking at papers that gave me the mood and feel that I wanted to tell in my story, to convey, then I told myself, if I have these big designs and they kind of make me, if they remind me of the story, then why not use them for the story and forget about getting that perfect photo? Because if you've been a scrapbooker for any length of time, sometimes getting that perfect photo just does not exist. And so, of course, that's why we do story-based pages. And I have some new subscribers on the channel. So welcome to everyone. To the ones that have been with me from day one, to the ones that are just now subscribing, I appreciate you being here and building this community, not just this channel, but our entire scrapbook community, because we are all in this together. Amen to that. Yes. So a lot of people have been asking me lately, what do I mean by a story-based page? And so that's what we're going to do today. Okay. Now, story-based pages, again, fall into that category of fast pages because a lot of the work is already done for you. So I wanted to go over a couple papers that could be used as story-based pages, just to talk about that a little bit. And then I'm going to work on one, which it's really not, it's just doesn't take long to do a story-based page. And then also to a couple questions I got about story-based pages. And then also to link below, I will have some other videos, some start to finish videos that basically talk about story-based pages. So definitely check those out if you want some extra viewing time. Okay, so up first is a paper by Echo Park called Under the Sea. And it's just a beautiful piece of paper, and you can see that it is a huge icon piece of paper. It's got a scene, okay? So a lot of people would say, well, where am I going to put a photo? Well, you could absolutely do a couple small wallets and put it there, put a title in your journaling, and you're done, okay? But if you have a story you want to tell about your child or your childhood, or just anything that gives you this mood and feel of Under the Sea, this is a little bit more childlike. So maybe you have a childhood story or a story of your children, and it has something to do with this. Or you went to an aquarium where you didn't have a photo. You could use something like this. The design is already here. The color is already here. All you have to do is do a title and find an area in this page, like right around in here, that really doesn't have anything. That's where you could put your journaling, and then you can consider this image here as your photo, okay? And so your embellishments are done. Just add a couple embellishments to give you some lump and bump, because this is a flat piece of paper. So to give you some visual interest, just add something with some dimension, and you are good to go. Okay, so this is what I mean by a story-based page, no photo needed. Okay, and I'm going to go through a couple other ones. This is another one. This is by October Afternoon. And I remember when this collection came out, a lot of people were like, well, this is nice. Okay, that's the B-side. But what in the Hannah would you do? This is from 2012. And it's called Fresh Eggs. Oh, boy, October Afternoon. Such beautiful beautiful designs. But Stephen Duncan, who did some designing for October Afternoon, is now with Cartabello. So we still get to enjoy that. So look for Stephen Duncan in the Cartabello collections. You can see he has such signature style. So definitely check that out. But you would say, okay, well, now what would you do? What would you absolutely do? And this has a lot of text, so you could absolutely just come here, and if you had a long story, just cut down a piece of paper and cover this up, and then you could journal here and let this be your image, especially if you have childhood memories when you were at the farm at your grandparents or your uncles or your cousins. You could do something like this. It would be perfect. You could come right here on top of this cow and you could put your title, and then if you had a lot of journaling, you could just take another piece of pattern paper or some cardstock and just cut it. This is probably what, 2.5, 3 inches, and cover that even just to here. Okay, and then, or even right to here, right from here to here, and you could do a lot of journaling. I mean, you could get a lot of childhood stories during the farm, on the farm, by the pond, anything, childhood chores. Oh, so many things. And then you could just use this amount right here. You could come down here and says where it says love. You could absolutely take a pen and sign your name. Yes, wouldn't that be fun? This is great, okay? And then just leave this as it is. You could add some colorful embellishments, something that reminds you of the childhood and being on the farm. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but the image is already here. Your design is here. This is your photo. It's just easy. Okay, now I'm trying not to talk too much, but I'm very passionate about story-based pages because I will tell you, in my scrapbooking journey, I struggled with that. I had all these story ideas from my childhood and my little one's childhood, and I didn't have a photo, and then trying to find a photo, please. Sometimes, yes, like looking for a needle in a haystack. So I would put them off, and I just had a running list of stories I wanted to tell, and I kept looking for that photo. And then once I started to realize I can use these heavy design papers as that photo that I needed to tell that story, it really opened up a whole big world for me. I have a lot more pages done about my childhood because I was no longer looking for that perfect photo. Okay, so this is another page. This would be fun. Definitely just use it as it is. You can even cut down a little bit, put it on a piece of cardstock just to give it a mat, and just give yourself a big bold title, and just come down here and print on cardstock. Don't actually write on this paper. You'd have to have it separate on a separate piece of cardstock or paper because you want it to stand out. And you could tell a childhood story of when you were in school, or something, your children being late for school, maybe how they have trouble getting up for school, or your children are early risers at school, or always having to watch the clock at school, being on time, carpool lanes, anything to do with that. And then also too, this doesn't just have to be for school, even though this is called milk money. This absolutely could do anything about your workplace, or part of your personality. If you're someone who's always on time, you know, my little one, she is always ahead of time. My hubby is always ahead of time. Me, I'm running at the last minute. That's just our personalities, you know? So you could do this. It doesn't have to be about childhoods and school. This could be about your personality now. Or are you someone who's always on time? You're at the door ahead of everybody else. This could be a personality page, okay? So again, no photo needed. Okay, next one, a map. Map pages are perfect for this. Just give yourself a title. Come down here where there's some open space and do some journaling right on top of that image, okay? And then you could put your title down here, journaling up here, or vice versa, okay? Map papers are perfect for when you have travel stories or adventure stories or goals and dreams in your life and you don't have the photos to go with it. This is what you do, map paper. And then also too, map paper is excellent for masculine pages because, you know, men are always traveling directions. Ask for directions. Don't ask for directions. Need directions. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. So map pages are good for that. Okay, I'll keep on going. Okay, again, this is another beautiful icon piece. This is October afternoon. You can see where I had all these in one little pile. And let me talk about that just for a minute. I got asked that question, where do I put these type of papers? When I find papers that have a big image, I put them in a separate category, and I just have them basically as story-based papers, and they just go along. Sometimes I would just put them, sometimes I'll change them. If I notice that I'm not looking at them enough, I will put them front and center with something, you know, like the new collection or something like that. But I normally keep these away from my other papers. I don't have them stuck in with school and things like that because these are story-based pages. Okay, so this definitely could be about school and reading and a book that is your favorite, a childhood story that was your favorite, or if you got to meet an author, or if your family is someone who likes to read, all those trips to the library. I mean, we have special childhood memories of going to the library. And you know, it's a shame that sometimes kids nowadays, they don't get those memories of going to the library and checking out books, and you know, that's kind of sad. But if you have those kind of stories, this is great for that. Let's go to the next one. Again, this is school. Oh, remember there's the SRA books and See Dick and Jane Run. Perfect. This is definitely and this could be childhood, babies, toddlers, just on the farm. planting a garden, anything. I mean, this just takes you back. I mean, these are just wonderful. It could be about your childhood, your grandparents' childhood, or your hubby's childhood. Just wonderful story-based pages, okay? Again, this one, now this is another October afternoon, and this is definitely, you know what this is. This is test taking, what do they call it? Social studies. Oh, fun. Okay, and so this is the B side of that map. So you definitely this would definitely be about any type of school or test taking or college or grad school, any of that type of stories. And no photo needed. Absolutely. Come in here, give yourself a title, and then just journal and journal and journal away. And that's why I like story-based pages, because I think you have more freedom to just write your heart out, whatever that story is, because you have basically a 12 by 12 format. Sometimes when you're working on a page and you're working on design, we kind of box ourselves in and just give ourselves a little bit of room to journal. Well, look here, baby, you got all of that room to journal. You can really get some long stories in, and again, no photo needed. Okay, so what I'm going to work on today is this one here, because I have a funny story. Well, it wasn't funny at the time. Well, yeah, it was, but not what we were doing. So I'm going to use this. It's by October Afternoon, and it's called Science. And this definitely is a story-based type of image. It's huge. It's big. It's definitely got a theme, but it's got so much color. The work is already done. I don't need a photo, and so I don't have a photo of this story, so that's why I'm going to use this. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is that I'm going to tell the story. And it's something that I had said during a storm, okay? And my little one has not forgotten that, and she brings it up all the time. And so one day, me and my little one and my mom, we were visiting my sister in another town. And while we were visiting with her for the day, we were doing some organizing and just chatting and socializing. And as we were doing that, this bad storm was coming in. I don't know if we got a warning or not, but it was a huge bad storm, to the point where there was hail and downed trees, and nobody was expecting it. It was a beautiful day. So long story short, my sister said, I think we need to take cover down in the basement. She had just gotten a new home. She said, I think we need to take cover in the basement. So we did. And so as we were going downstairs to her basement, my neighbor from my town was calling me saying, there's flash flooding, the power is out, and this and that. So I told her, I said, don't worry. I said, I have the power company in my cell phone. I'll call them and I'll tell them. And so that's part of the story too. So as we were going down to the basement, and I was sitting on the basement stairs, and we were all just down in the basement, watching the storm, waiting for the storm to pass and everything. And so as we were down in the basement, my sister said, oh, by the way, we're going to have to get the basement tested for radon. Okay. Radon. So here I am sitting on the basement steps of my sister's home, chomping down on a McDonald's chocolate chip cookie, and she says nonchalantly, oh yeah, we're going to have to get the basement tested for radon. So I just said right off the quip, and I'm not a fast thinker, okay? But I said, I'm trying not to laugh. And I said, well, if the storm doesn't kill us, the radon will. And so we laughed and we laughed and we laughed. And so we took basically a stressful time during waiting for this bad storm to pass, and had a little fun just being together, cooped up in the basement, eating some McDonald's chocolate chip cookies, and just, having fun. So my little one has not forgotten that, and she brings it up all the time. When we're in a storm or it's a stressful situation, she'll say, well, if the storm doesn't kill us, the radon will, and so it's just a fun story. And since she brought this up recently, I wrote it down in my scrappy notebook, and I knew that I needed to tell this story. I have no photo, okay? Now, you could go on the internet, and you could certainly find one that's a picture of a storm and things like that. It was just, it was a stressful day, but it was also a fun day. We can look back and laugh at it now. And the other part of that story is, which I'll talk about that here in just a minute. So remind me, I gotta tell you another part of the story. So how do I handle this? Okay, you might not want to hear all my chit chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of paper just as it is in its glory. I'm not going to do anything with it other than cut off that branding strip, and that's it. And then what I'm going to do is cut down just a little bit here, and on the top and on the one side, or maybe just 1/4 or maybe 1/8 of an inch the whole way around. Okay, and then I'm going to mat it on a piece of basil orange cardstock. And I only do this because this is basically my design and my photo, so I want to kind of give it a little bit of a mat. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for that. And so then what I'm going to do is give myself a title and play with a few embellishments, because my journaling is going to take up a chunk of this layout. Okay, so what I decided to do was find something for my title. And of course my story is, if the storm doesn't kill us, the radon will. That's too long of a title, so you have to find something in that title that will give you the semblance of what your story is about, but yet it also draws the attention of your viewer. Okay, so if you want to hang on and sit here and scrap a little bit with me, that's good. If not, you can fast forward to the end. I will have a finished page and a couple close-ups, but it's really not a big detailed layout because it's focusing on the story. Yes, okay, so I'm going to grab my trimmer if I can find it, because I have some happy scrappy piles. Yes. So I hope you're scrapbooking right along with me. Yes. Okay, so what I'm simply going to do is what I said I was going to do. And by the way, this is the B-side. Yes, does that not scream school? Yes, absolutely. This is from 2013. And I'm telling you what, nice paperweight. And so I'm just going to trim off my branding strip to begin with. And then I will trim off just a smidgen. I would say about 1/8. We're going to try 1/8. I don't know if I want to cut that much. Well, you know, when you don't know, don't go. Yes, if you don't know, don't go. So I'm just going to trim off 1/8 to begin with, because I would much rather trim again rather than be like, oh, I didn't like that. You know, because you can't add once you cut. Yes, and I will tell you, put a new trimmer blade in. Makes all the difference in the world. Yes. Okay. So that is that. Okay. And I will throw all those scraps away. Yes. Okay. So let's see. I don't know if that cut too straight. It don't matter. I will tell you, I don't think anything in my life right now is straight. I'm dealing with vertigo again. So that's why my hands are a little shaky this weekend. So trying to do some embellishments is kind of hard when you have vertigo. And then also, to a couple days after you have vertigo, you had a vertigo episode, my hands are very shaky. And so it's kind of hard to line some things up. I think I like that enough. Yes, I'm just going to do that. Okay. So I probably won't get out my ATG, but you'll know that's all I'm simply going to do, is just put that on that orange basil colored cardstock. I love when I break out the colored cardstock. Okay, so this is absolutely how it's going to go. And so then I already have my journaling typed up, but of course I can't show it, but I will show you how much it is. It is that much, okay? And so then what do you do for a story-based title? Find something that is catchy, because you don't have the photo to draw the viewer's eye in, so your title is going to have to do that work for you. So of course, you know, my story is, if the storm doesn't kill us, the radon will. That's too long, okay? So I need to find something that conveys my story and makes it interesting, okay? And also, too, on my journaling block, you can see I took my corner rounder to just 2 of the corners, because in my paper, it has that rounded corner. But I did it as a little something different. I did it with, and you could do it 2 ways. Either way. So I only did the 2 opposing corners, okay, for that. So what I did for my title is I picked, I went directly from what my paper is, and that's the periodic table. And so I looked up what is the periodic number or symbol for radon. And it's 86 RN. So do you remember having to know them in school? Oh man, we had to memorize them. Oh, the only thing I ever remembered was water, H2O, and let's see, hydrogen and carbon. Oh, and they're probably on here. Yeah, see? Oxygen 8, hydrogen 1. Okay, and so on the paper, it has the number, and then it has the letters underneath, okay? But I think for me, and so a little bit of a visual interest, this is probably how I'm going to do it. And these are foam, so if I want to move them after I'm done filming, I can. But it's probably going to go something like that. I like my journaling right there. So I have a lot of journaling, okay? And I may, once my journaling block goes on here, I may even... Okay, that looks funny, 88 radium, okay, but it's 86 radon, yes, radon, who would have thunk? And so I may just do it like that, okay, that way it'll look connective, I think that's what I'll do. Okay. And so, yes, my title is 86 RN for Radon. Okay. So that is my, that's my title. Okay. And so then, what I did for embellishments, and since this is flat, I wanted to make sure I got some dimensional. So all I did was pull a couple, chipboard pieces, they're not chipboard, dimensional pieces in this craft, because this is what my journaling block is going to go on, because I didn't know if I wanted to go with white, I didn't know if I wanted to go with cream, so I just said, I made the decision quick, and I was like, I'm not going to go with either, just go with craft. Yeah, so if you don't know whether to go with white or ivory, go with craft. And so then I pulled a couple embellishments, so that'll make this look on purpose. And then all I did was pick stickers from what I pulled out for my scrapping weekend, and that's just this tin of stickers. That's where all these came from, except, even the date came from that, except these little atomic symbols, okay, and they came from a Cartabella sticker sheet called Space Academy by the fabulous Stephen Duncan. Yes, I think I need to have a shrine. Well, I do, because all my Cartabella papers are in a special place. I moved them closer to my desk. I kid you not. I should do a photo of all my Cartabella. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so you can see that when I put these stickers on my wax paper, I kind of basically put them in like a little bit of a cluster. And so I just put a star in each one of these atomic symbols. And so then I will just simply just play with my clusters, okay? And so with my clusters on a story-based page, I make it easy for myself, and I do a visual triangle, but I do small visual triangles, okay? So, and then also, I like this piece of paper said, don't be normal, be marvelous, because, yeah, my little saying there was a little, that was a little abnormal, okay? So again, there's my journaling. My clusters are just going to go around. It's really not going, it would take no time at all, but I'm glad I have this story recorded. And then one thing I wanted to say is that this is 2011. Okay, so I get asked a lot when I'm doing story-based pages, what year do I put this in? Will I put this in 2011, or will I put that in, since this is 2019, will I put it in 2019? And so I say there's no wrong way, because in a story-based page, you may not know when it happened, so don't stress over it. But I absolutely could put this in 2011's family album, or I could put it in 2019 family album. And I don't really have family albums, I just have a year. You know, that's not a family album, it's just a year. And then I have an album that's just about me. I could put it in that as well. And you don't have to stress over that, because if it's in your album, that's a lot better than being in your brain. Yes, you know what I mean. So don't stress, where do I put this? Where do I put it? Just put it where you want to do it. And if you have to move it a year from now, no biggie, okay? But I really don't know where I'll put this. I may put it in 2011, or I may put it in something current, because the stories I'm going to tell, it's going to be more than just that. So let me go into talking about that, and I'll just play with a couple more clusters, because so you can see what I have in my mind. And I'll probably put one up here, and it says enjoy the ride. I mean, and you see what I'm doing. I'm just simply playing, and I'm using the number 4. Why? Because there was 4 of us that day, and here's a star, and I'm just going to play. I mean, that's how simple that is. That's it. That's how simple it is. And so the reason I wanted to talk about the journaling, because I got asked some questions as to how do you know what to journal. So with a story-based page, you can get more than just one story on a story-based page. And what do I mean by that? Because I'm going to be telling about that storm and being at my sister's, I'm also going to talk about my sister getting her new home. I'm going to talk about the damage that happened to her vehicle and how she is so sweet and she thought more of me than she did herself. And then also I'm going to talk about the personality of my little one when she gets scared in a storm. And so during a storm, I always try to humor her because she gets so worked up. And then also to being prepared as a mom. So while I was even in another town, I was helping my neighbor in our town dealing with the storm too. So I'm going to encompass several stories within this story-based page. And so that's what I wanted to say. When, just for example, this one I was talking about, like if you were on the farm, and I said you could use this whole side over here. Can you imagine how many stories you could encompass about being on the farm, or childhood memories, or doing chores, all of that? I mean, several stories on this one 12 by 12 layout. Yes. And because the work's already done, that's already started to tell your story, so why not just tell more than one? That was my point. And so that's what I wanted to say. That's why I have a lot of journaling, because it's not just about that funny little saying. It's also going to be about how we still talk about that, and then all those other little things that happen during that day. That I'm going to talk about. So that's what I'm going to do. And so the year will probably go somewhere. And then I also pulled out the number 8, and then also the number 6 because of radon. Yeah, and I will probably come just down here and do a visual triangle. I mean, easy peasy. And then I pulled out some actual diamonds because that was just I think of that shape when I think about the periodic table. And you see what I'm doing? I'm not even paying attention. I'm just slapping stick, folks. That's all I'm doing, slapping stick. And so you'll probably see in the close-ups I might change a couple things. But this is honestly how quick it goes. I mean, honestly, yeah, that's how fun. And and then I have the word laughter, because when you're pulling out word stickers, I got asked this question too. When you're picking out word stickers for a story-based page, pick them on an intentional basis. Okay, so I have I got one more sticker. Why not finish it? Okay, and then of course I have the year. Okay, and I'm gonna put this here. Okay, and in the year I'll just put it somewhere. Okay, so you'll see that for my. Do you see how fast that was? I mean, honestly, it was so fast. So the words that I picked, I have enjoy the ride, the family tree, and laughter, because that was all what was going on in the day. Read this, know this, and watch out. That's how I had to do with the storm. And then, of course, my title has to do with radon. And then don't be normal, be marvelous, because sometimes I get a little abnormal, being silly. But when you pick these words or any kind of shape or any kind of motifs, let it emphasize and tell your story even more. Absolutely. That's why it's good to have a variety of embellishments, okay? Love word stickers. Okay, so that is all I think I wanted to talk about for the story-based page. You got to see it come together. I would just adhere this, and I might play around with these a little bit more, but absolutely, they look pretty good as they are. And what I will do is I will get a couple, and I had some here from my last page. I will get a couple enamel dots, and I will just sprinkle them around, and that is how quick that came together. Very, very quick. So I wanted to spend a little time this evening talking about story-based pages. I get a lot of questions about that, and then it's something that I really encourage you to get out of that comfort zone thinking you have to have a photo to do a layout. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. These papers, and you can see I have no photo here whatsoever. This is my journaling, this is my title, and you can see I'm already visualizing something, and I don't even have a photo. That's the beauty of a story-based page, and that's the beauty of using these type of papers to let them do the work for you. Absolutely. Okay, so that is all I have for tonight. Happy International Scrapbook Day. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of fun, sitting down and chatting and talking about story-based pages, how quick they can come together, and also to one of my family stories, that if the storm doesn't kill us, the radon will. Absolutely, yes. So that's all I have for today and for tonight, but we're still going to keep celebrating International Scrapbook Day all day tomorrow, so come back bright and early at 5 a.m. for another scrap paper page. Absolutely. So have a good evening. Scrap all night till it's dawn. Absolutely. Let's bring out the caffeine and stay up till 3. Yeah. Like that happens, but you know what I mean. Have fun tonight, ladies, yes, and record those stories. Absolutely. So that's all I have for now. Come back to RTS, because you never know what we're going to talk about. Bye.